Hey guys, welcome back! Robocraft Early Access coverage! This is episode 49, I'm Igneous, and today we're taking our TX-1 SMG hover out for a spin. We've got 4 matches in this little guy. If we could get past our own teammates. It's just kind of a casual romp to see what these guns are going to do, get a feel for them, get a feel for the performance characteristics of the bot. I don't know if you would call it a contest or if it's just an event. To kill 100 enemies using a bot that had a TX-1 SMG mounted on it when you entered the match starts next week, so it makes sense to kind of shake down the bot now, find out what's working, what's not working. We can talk about a few of the things that's not working or that weren't working on this bot. One, and this was pointed out by a viewer, I put tier 7 SMGs on the bot. After I got the TX-1s on, we wanted to kind of bulk out the bot and give it a little bit more offensive punch with the remaining CPU that we could fit on. For whatever reason I grabbed tier 7, I meant tier 10, so I've changed it. As it sits in the garage now, it's tier 10 SMGs in addition to the 2 giant TX-1s on either side. But because of CPU restrictions, I could only get 3 on until I get like 3 more levels. I can put a 4th on. One of the other changes that I noticed is with the patch notes, there was mention of changes to the physics, specifically with regards to, in this case, hoverblade performance, and a little more stable, a little less wobble, better performance over terrain, etc., etc. So it's not, you won't see it in this episode, but in future episodes, you'll see the bot with the rudders taken out, and I've actually also taken the rudders out from Pretty Hate Machine. They perform much better with the rudders out, I can say that. They're very, very squirrely. They're very, very quick to turn and hard to counter steer. So if you overturn, it's kind of a problem. But overall, it was, on Pretty Hate Machine, it was about 100 CPU we freed up by removing the rudders and the thrusters, the turning thrusters. And on this bot, we freed up about 80, which we then reinvested back into armor on the underside where the rudders originally were, because it kind of, when we removed them, it left a big gaping hole that would have been devastating for plasma to splash up into it. So things aren't going so well for us in this match, but for its size, my bot is holding up pretty well. I mean, we had a lot of guys shooting at me. A lot of our guys were kind of sitting on the far side watching it happen. Not really doing much to help, but that's kind of to be expected. This match is a little bit better. You see a lot of people, first time with the guns, they like to shoot them. That guy had at least 3. He may have had even 4. I don't know about the viability of his bot. I didn't pay attention in the long term throughout the match. Very, very difficult to get 4 of the TX-1s on a bot and keep the bot viable, because first of all, it's going to be 1,000 CPU just for the guns. That only leaves you 500 CPU for everything else, your mobility, your chassis, including bulking it out to make it, robust enough to survive, or adding electroplates, which are very, very expensive for CPU. So tough balancing act, and it doesn't really matter, because this isn't, I don't expect to have that same problem when it comes time to build them into a megabot. I have no idea if FreeJam is still going to allow us to put TX-1 components on regular bots, or if they're going to restrict them to megabots. It doesn't really matter. I don't plan on making a habit of using TX-1 components on regular bots once the megabots are in the game. But it's just something to keep in mind for the build consideration. These things do take a lot of CPU. Now, damage-wise, again, I don't know if this is damage that's been reduced to fit in a regular bot environment, and if they'll be, buffed for the megabots, or if devs are feeling that they're good for megabots right now and they're, just letting us roll with it. I don't really feel like an offensive powerhouse in this bot. Part of it is the tier 7 SMGs. There's no getting around that. But also the TX-1s aren't super heavy-duty damage kind of things. You would expect megabots, these super jumbo robots, that the TX-1 guns would be double, triple what the tier 10 components are, but they're really not. So it's pretty manageable, but also you don't see one guy with a pair of TX-1s just face-rolling the entire opposition. One of the benefits of having a bot that's this size is that it doesn't really take much to get repaired, which is good, because there's a lot of people running around with SMGs these days. It means there's a lot of damage flying around, and it's not big damage, it's just whittling damage, right? Each shot has a chance to take something small off your bot, and if you have too many of those small things removed, you find yourself in a lot of trouble. In this case, we're missing one. We were missing one TX-1 SMG. You can see we got healed up there fairly well. It's very important in a bot like this that it be maneuverable and fast. If it's going to be small, it has to be maneuverable and fast, and it is. So that's good because it's an armor core design, and it's. I really put the time into, you know, trying to make it as robust as possible and not getting lazy, making poor connections and things. So it takes a beating better than you would expect for a bot this size that's hovering in the air and, you know, only got a handful of guns on it. It feels like it should be on the ground half the weight and basically running around on wheels until it tips over. I had footage of a bot that did that the other day. It was just wheels, and every time he tried to steer it would tip over, and then he would sit there jamming his rectifier until he got back on his wheels, and then he'd go and he'd take it out of corner and tip over again. It's terrible. I felt bad for him in a sick and twisted kind of way. So here I'm kind of overextended, taking a lot of damage. I was actually trying to back up, and I bumped into a goddamn healer who was parked behind me, and the recoil, there was actually a little bit of a bounce after the bump, and it pushed me right into a blast of plasma. Not the best. Not really the outcome that I was hoping to get from this situation. Another example of, you know, medics who creep up on the ass of the people that they're repairing, causing problems. It's my pet peeve of the month. But in this case, as long as the rest of my team can kind of finish off the guys remaining, we can pull a win out of this, even though I'm basically disabled at this point. I can barely control my bots. It held together enough to allow me to survive and get credit for the double RP bonus, but that's about it. I was hoping that I could, you know, catch up with the medic who would invest enough time to get me back up and running enough to get at least a gun back, but that wasn't going to be the case. We did manage to win. There we go. Got the RP bonus. Very expensive to build one of these. You'll notice that mine is in tier 10, although it's all purple blocks, because to retrofit it for the tier 10 blocks is going to cost a fortune. And I'm not sure how the rollout for the megabots is going to go, but I do know if we're looking at 1 million RP for one gun, by the time you get to a megabot that has whatever system is going to make it move, plus any special blocks that might come out for megabots, plus a full spread of weapons, there's not going to be a lot of RP left around to retrofit temporary bots, and that's really all this is. It's just a temporary bot for the little event to kill 100 bots during the week. If we can manage that, that'll be fantastic. Otherwise, you know, we have no intention of keeping this in the garage. I like this map better as Plasma, ironically. I have different maps, and I prefer them with different vehicles. The big wide open one that doubles as the map that you use in the practice map is the one that I pretty much like for any vehicle because it's wide open. You don't have to worry too much about terrain. But this one is kind of... Plasma suits it well because you can lob plasma and then there's plenty of places you can duck into cover. But for SMGs where you have to kind of sit out in the open and keep constant pressure on the enemy to get the most out of the gun, is it's a little bit less relaxing. As you could say, when I go into battle, I like to be relaxed. That's my motto. This trend in tier 10 lately to just completely miss each other in terms of one group goes one place, the other group goes the other, and if you manage to stay with the group that's doing everything as a group and missing everyone, you get win bonuses. If you don't, you die. You're lucky if you get a hero bonus. We're not seeing a ton of railguns lately, despite the big buff, 25% buff to railgun damage in tier 10. Not necessarily a bad thing. We saw that railgun tank me twice on my way up here, and he took a couple of reasonable-sized chunks off my bot. For 22,000 damage per shot, the bot held up not too bad. Now just trying to, you know, find the enemy and not draw too much attention to myself while I lay down some damage, but there's a limit to how long that can go on. You can see that there's 4 enemy bots there, and only one other friendly bot doing anything to distract them, so you can tell we're next. As soon as he died, it was game over for us. Now this last match is the same map but from the other side, which is my preferred side just because I seem to feel more accustomed to it. Not really significantly different. The only major difference is that when you're looking at how matches tend to play out is that we will stay sort of in this area and then the enemy will come around through that tunnel, and there's usually the major battle, if there's going to be one, takes place with them using the cover of the boulders just on the right as you're entering the tunnel, and us kind of hanging out back here, taking advantage of whatever cover we can. I like it because it's just, you get, most of the time, you get these really sort of condensed, intense battles that can potentially last for quite a long time, especially with teams that have, say, 2 or 3 medics per side. And it just goes on and on and on until everyone's either destroyed or the time runs out. And I've had some matches recently time out just because you get that right mix of healers keeping everyone alive and people surviving because of the healers but not really doing much damage. I didn't say that. Someone else said that with my voice. You know it never happens. I had another one of those matches where I was watching a guy and he would only shoot if he was above 95% health, even if all he had to do to find a target was drive forward 3 or 4 meters and turn a little bit, and he would have had someone to shoot at with a medic on his ass healing him the whole time. He wouldn't even peek out until he was above 95%, which was a damn tragedy because it explains how one side can get wiped out very, very quickly while the other side just basically base rolls with very few losses, is because you have people just don't contribute for extended periods of time. Here, I'm trying to keep pressure at a distance. We've got enough guys up there that are kind of putting pressure in the face-to-face position. Back here, we've got hell about to break loose. All the hell is breaking loose. This guy here, I wanted to kind of tag him before he had a chance to drop the Tesla coils on me. I wasn't successful, but you could see our bot absorbed most of it. Very fortunate to have survived that, and we did enough damage to his Tesla coils that he wasn't able to completely destroy us. So that was good. I would never build a bot like that because it's just so dependent on getting the jump on someone, and then once you have, then what do? You have to go find a medic, or you just sit there and wait to die. It's not my thing. It's really just kind of a novelty build, I think. We don't have time for that. This is where I actually lost rotational control on my bot. So I can move side to side, forward, back, but I can't actually rotate my bot to turn, which makes steering incredibly difficult. I'm waiting for that moment when that thing will get repaired that'll let me turn again, and it just doesn't happen. Bit of a hiccup there. So this is basically the end of the match. We're just waiting for it to end. I can't do anything. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. You can see falling off the cliff, very, very stable. This one still has the rudders, but it doesn't really change much when you remove them. So that's if you've got a hover and you've got rudders on it for stability, take the rudders off and take it into the practice map. Give it a whirl, see if you like what happens. Also consider as part of that taking off any turning thrusters that you have on the bot, just to see. Do some testing on your own, find something that works, because it is different now. So next video is probably going to be more match footage. I do have a build underway that I'm kind of doing on the side between all these matches with all these different bots that I've got, but it's probably at least a few days away. So we'll do match footage in between, and then once we've got that build going, it should be kind of interesting. So if you want to be notified when I add those videos, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel and or follow me on the social media. Links for that in the information section below the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.